Today, a clinic in rural southwest Nebraska is announcing that they are closing their doors, and listen to what the CEO said is the reason why. Unfortunately, the current financial environment, driven by anticipated federal budget cuts to Medicaid, has made it impossible for us to continue operating all of our services, many which have faced significant financial challenges for years. This is a community hospital CEO, Troy Brunts, said in a statement. And unfortunately, this looks to be the first of many. It is estimated that over 190 rural hospitals and clinics are in immediate danger if this bill passes of not being able to keep their doors open.
Nebraska clinic closes. Yeah, a clinic has already closed, knowing full well of what is coming with the big bad Republican bill. When it does finally pass today, it's going to devastate these clinics across the country, and people in rural areas are going to have no access to health care. It's going to be extremely difficult as hundreds of these locations across the country close. And it's happening because Republicans voted for this. Republicans did this to Americans. So you will struggle now. Millions of you will be without any health care. Millions of you will be without health care facilities to go to. You'll have to now drive out of your way some 40, 50, 60, 70 miles or more because these clinics are going to close because of the Medicaid payments. That's right. This is brought to you by Republicans. You have no one else to blame. Republicans are doing this, and clinics are starting to close already. This is a shame, and it's going to affect millions of lives across the country.
Nebraska is probably really pissed that they voted for Trump now, huh? Because everybody that's like, no, Medicaid's not going to close clinics and Medicaid's not going to close hospitals. Ask Nebraska how one of their clinics is now being closed. Why, you might ask? Because of Medicaid cuts. Because of Medicaid cuts. And that's just the first to downfall publicly. Imagine all the small ones that's going to close without the public knowing. And yes, my face is greasy because I got on sunblock because I'm about to get outside. But listen, I'm trying to tell you, it is about to get real ugly in America. Y'all just wait and see all you nurses and CNAs and LPNs and doctors. Yeah, you might want to go look for a new job because you're about to get terminated. Thanks to Trump. Go thank your president.
When people start losing their Medicaid, when they start losing their jobs, when their electric bills go up, when their premiums go up, when kids and parents lose SNAP funding, the people of America will remember this vote. The American people will remember the Republican betrayal. And Americans will pay the price for this perfidy for generations.
Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. So Nebraska, a state that voted 54% for Trump, is now feeling the painful consequences of that decision. A rural hospital in Nebraska has just shut its doors because of the upcoming bill pushed by Trump's administration that's about to cut healthcare access for millions of Americans. So, the very people who backed him are the first to suffer. Is this really what America First looks like? Or are we watching America forgotten in real time? Let's get to see the reactions. Then we come back with a deep analysis about this topic, alright? Let's dive into it.
This Medicaid cut is going to be absolutely devastating, guys. Rural hospitals all across the country are already on life support, and this bill is basically pulling the plug. They are not just trimming around the edges. They're gutting Medicaid funding, and rural hospitals rely heavily on Medicaid reimbursements just to survive. It's not just for people who are on Medicaid. These cuts affect everyone, because when a hospital shuts down, it shuts down for everyone. Doesn't matter if you've got private insurance, Medicare, or nothing at all. If the ER is gone, it's gone. In Nebraska, there's already a rural hospital planning to close, and they're being honest about why. It's because of these anticipated federal cuts, and it's not just one. Over 100 rural hospitals have already shut down in the past decade, and hundreds more are on the brink. This bill could push dozens, maybe even hundreds over the edge. And people don't realize how much damage this does to a town. The hospital's not just a place for emergency, guys. It's where babies are born. It's where cancer gets caught early. It's where your kid goes when they break their arm. It's one of the biggest local employers. It supports pharmacies, nursing homes, ambulance services. When a hospital closes, the entire local economy takes a hit. The whole community suffers. And let's be clear, this is not just about weeding out undeserving people. That is bullshit. These cuts hit working families, elderly folks, people with disabilities, veterans, kids. And even if you don't have Medicaid, your hospital might still close down because it can't survive without that funding. This is what happens when you let politicians treat human lives like budget lines. They're not just cutting costs, they're cutting access, cutting jobs, cutting lives short. People are going to die because they won't be able to get help in time. That's not dramatic, that is reality. And pretending it's anything else is just cowardly and ridiculous. And yeah, this bill might pass in the next day or two, but we better remember every single fucking name that signed off on it, because once these hospitals are gone, they're not coming back, and neither should the people who voted to let it happen.
Did you all hear about the hospital in Nebraska that is going to close down because of uncertainty about funding? This is honestly super concerning, especially because this small hospital is in a remote area, and for many folks, it's the only one that's accessible to them. What we are seeing here is what many are expecting to be the first example of what the cuts to public funding are going to do to important services that people need. A lot of folks that are hearing about this, though, are not showing empathy because in many ways, Nebraska voted for this. And in that county specifically, they voted overwhelmingly for the person that is promoting the cuts that are happening right now. Unfortunately, this is another example of folks voting against their interests, folks that were expecting that their living conditions, their livelihood was going to improve, and the opposite is happening. And listen, y'all, I understand why a lot of folks don't have empathy, but I feel bad for these folks because the system that we're living in over and over again keeps hurting the folks that are the most marginalized. But those are my thoughts, familia. I want this to be a conversation. What do you all think about this? Do you agree with what I said? Or are you on the side that doesn't feel any empathy for these folks? And if you are somebody that lives in Nebraska, what do you think about this? This is crazy.
And it begins. A rural hospital in Nebraska closed, citing the upcoming bill that's going to cut health care for millions. And guess who won Nebraska in the 2024 election? Trump. So it's already hurting his supporters. It's like watching cows lining up to go to the slaughterhouse and them applauding it. Like, bro, make it make sense. It's crazy because, like, as long as they think it's gonna hurt the others, they're okay with it. Oh, what the, like, I'm lost for words.
I'm a doctor, and I can't believe I already have to say this, and if you don't think this is bad, I don't know how to help you. We have the first official report of a clinic closing because of proposed Medicaid cuts. This is a clinic that has been open for 30 years in a tiny town, and they've said we can't make money, and we know we're going to lose so much more because of these proposed Medicaid cuts, so we're shuttering our doors. And the hospitals in Nebraska have been advocating against this terrible, horrible budget bill because they know it will kill their residents. This clinic is in Nebraska's 3rd district, and Representative Adrian Smith is their representative in Congress. So I just want Mr. Smith to answer me, what's he going to do for these people who now don't have access to healthcare in their community? He has lots of things to say on his Instagram account about this bill, but not anything to say about how he plans to actually protect Nebraskans and access healthcare. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to go onto his social medias and go, what the heck is going on? Say no, this vote has not gone through yet, so there's still time. And if you're a constituent, you can go ahead and call him at this number and let him know that we've already seen harm and this bill isn't even in effect yet. Everything you do counts, so thank you so much and don't give.
So we're already seeing the effects of the bill, and it hasn't even passed yet when it comes to rural hospitals in anticipation to the Medicaid cuts. Curtis Medical Center in rural Nebraska has announced that it's going to be closing, and it does cite the anticipated cuts to Medicaid as one of the reasons they are closing. So this is only the beginning, folks. You can try to sugarcoat it all you want. This is what's going to happen.
I just tried to call my representative's office. It's Mike Flood from Nebraska. And it rang and then they hung up. And then I called back and it said it was busy. And so either it's actually busy and everyone and their mother is calling him, or he's specifically avoiding my call, which I wouldn't doubt. But yeah, this big beautiful bill thing is literally going to bankrupt the state of Nebraska. And actually, Aaron Parnas just posted a video about how in rural Nebraska, a clinic has already closed, I think in anticipation of this passing, because this state doesn't have the resources to go without what they're cutting in this bill. So Nebraska, where it's done and over.
Most of the hospitals in Southern California have been on a hiring freeze for months now. However, University of California, San Diego sent out an email to all staff yesterday that they were laying off 230 healthcare workers. They said in the email that this has nothing to do with performance and is entirely because of budget cuts. That's right, you guys. California hospitals are laying off healthcare workers because of the potential budget cuts in the big, beautiful bill that Republicans are trying to shove through Congress right now. We're already feeling it. We are already feeling it. And we are going to continue to feel worse. Reminder, this bill has not passed yet. However, the hospitals are acting preemptively and firing healthcare workers. This is bad. This is bad for you. This is bad for your mama. This is bad for your grandma. This is bad for everyone. This is bad for nurses. And we have to fight against this. And what that means is calling our senators. The bill passed the House of Representatives. That means it is now up to the Senate to decide if it goes further. So we have to be calling our senators as much as we can or emailing them. Shit,
If the big beautiful bill gets signed into law, and it advanced last night, so what are the chances of it getting signed into law? I'm looking at about 99%. All right, so if that big beautiful bill gets signed into law, which I think it will, a lot of people will die of needs, the basic health care, right? Nursing homes and hospitals, it's going to affect their bottom line because a lot of healthcare are funded by Medicare, okay, which supports those hospitals and nursing homes. So for the ones, there are already some that's already closed or are on their way closing, but more will close. And a lot of people are going to be in needs and wants. You understand? I know for sure that a lot of these people that these bills will affect and these cuts will affect have been sitting down for months, for the last 6 months, watching people on TikTok scream their lungs out, trying to get them to do something about what's going on, or trying to get them to say something about what's going on. But guess what? They refuse from doing it. They sit quietly and laugh, make funny videos around different subjects and topics that as it relates to immigrants. But guess what? It's closing in to everybody. This big beautiful is a broad brush that's going to sweep over every single person. So not only would it affect those who with healthcare conditions, food stamps, whatever, Section 8 housing, SNAP benefit, supplementary nutrition assistance program. Not only those, but the feeder systems that assist those will also be affected. It will come down to even the person who does a plumber, electrician, people who do lawn care, laundry, all these feeders that feed into those which are funded by Medicare will be affected. Right? So it's not just the patients who depend on Medicare, Medicaid, I should say. It's not just the patients who depend on Medicaid will be affected, right? Things around that will also be affected. Okay? So yeah, it's happening in real time, playing out right in front of you. And it's a good time to start acting responsibly. Act responsibly. You have a moral obligation to society. You have a moral obligation to society to do the right thing. You know this isn't right, but you sit there quiet for months, right? You have an obligation to, at the end of the day, if all else, you could say that you did something. You understand? Next video, peace.
And just what I said would happen, happened. In the southwest Nebraska and Curtis, Nebraska, a healthcare clinic is shutting down before the big beautiful bill even passed. And all due to financial problems, and especially motivated by the big beautiful bill and the cuts to Medicare that are going to happen. Curtis, Nebraska is a town of 900 people who now just simply won't have a medical facility left for them. Anyone who even attempts to make the argument of things like, oh, universal healthcare would cause us to have massive lines and no one would be able to get healthcare, they sound ridiculous now. I mean, we literally have the most privatized healthcare in the world by far, not even close, pretty much no public sector at this point, and they're literally closing down hospitals. Forget the lines, there's not even a building anymore. When Republicans say America first, they don't mean Americans, the normal citizens. They mean the American rich, because those are the only people who are going to profit from these changes that are happening right now.
Nebraska Hospital is already closing due to the impending Medicaid cuts. The listeners comes to us from Nebraska Public Media. It says Southwest Nebraska Hospital announces plans to close, blames uncertainty over funding. The uncertainty over federal Medicaid funding appears to have claimed its first victim in Nebraska. Community Hospital in McCook announced Wednesday that it will close Curtis Medical Center in Curtis, winding down its operations and services over the next several months. The CEO of Community Hospital said that unfortunately this current financial environment driven by anticipated federal budget cuts to Medicaid has made it impossible for us to continue operating all of our services, many of which have faced significant financial challenges for years. Earlier this week, during a Zoom meeting put on by a multi-state organization, United Today, Stronger Tomorrow, officials estimated that up to 6 Nebraska hospitals could be forced to close if the bill passes. And we all know that bill just passed recently. And they say they have currently 6 hospitals that they feel are in a critical financial state, 3 of which are impending kind of closure and a conversion over to the rural emergency hospital model. Now, it is important to point out that Nebraska is extremely red. I don't know if they realize, but when you have towns of only 1,000 people, you can't afford to have a fully functioning hospital without somebody subsidizing it for you. So, I hate to say this, but they voted for this.
This isn't just about one hospital in Nebraska. It's a warning shot for millions of Americans, especially in rural areas, who rely on affordable health care to survive. The same communities that believed Trump would protect the forgotten man are now being forgotten themselves. This new bill isn't just cutting costs, it's cutting lives. And the most tragic part, many of these voters thought they were choosing someone who would fight for them, not against them. Let this be a moment of reflection. Elections have consequences, and policies have victims. If this is what making America great again looks like, then we need to ask, great for who? Because it's certainly not great for the sick, the elderly, or the poor. We must hold leaders accountable, not just for their words, but for the real impact of their actions. Today it's Nebraska. Tomorrow it could be your town, your hospital, your family. Stay informed, stay critical, and above all, stay awake. Thank you so much for your time. If you found value in what you shared, kindly consider subscribing and turn on notifications so you never miss any update from my videos. Your support truly means a lot, and it helps us keep bringing you more insightful content. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.